Hello, my name's Elise, aka Assassin Agent, and welcome to my YouTube channel. On today's episode of Strawberries and Video Games, as we enter the new year and get into 2022, I wanted to take some time today to just reflect back first on 2021 and share my top 5 games of the year. I was recently checking out Game Awards and I've been noticing a lot of polls where people vote for their top games, and it's been really interesting to see what everyone else is saying. And while I didn't play every single game title that came out in 2021, I did spend quite a lot of time gaming last year, and I do have my own 2 cents to add on what was most memorable for me. So without further ado, here's my top 5 list. Coming in at number 5 is Psychonauts 2. What I'll say about Psychonauts 2 is that this was my first real experience with the series. I was not familiar with the original Psychonauts game, but I did see a behind-the-scenes look for Psychonauts 2 at the E3 conference earlier in 2021, and that's what initially grabbed my interest. I thought it was just such a creative looking game, and it was kind of giving me this vibe of like things I'd be imagining as a kid, but turned into a wild and crazy video game. So once I saw that at E3, I did go back and play just a little bit of Psychonauts, the original game, to kind of catch myself up to speed, and then I was very eager to jump into Psychonauts 2 when it officially came out in August. And I was not disappointed. I loved the creativity, I loved the humor in the game as well, the story, the puzzles, and I just had a lot of fun with this and felt like it was a type of game that could truly be fun for all ages. So definitely a memorable experience for me, and I was really excited to jump into this series this year. Coming in at number 4 is an indie game called Lifeslide. This is another title that in general wasn't new. It had previously come out on Apple Arcade actually, but when I heard about this one at E3 as well, it was new to me, and I was really excited to check it out on PC when it launched on Steam. And what initially grabbed my attention was just watching those paper airplanes fly, and something about the physics of it just felt good to watch. It just seemed like a really chill, feel-good game, and it certainly was. But I also like the fact that between the story mode, the challenges, the Zen mode, you could kind of change your experience. So if you wanted something more relaxing, you could certainly have that, but you could ramp up the speed, you could have fun with the challenges, get more competitive, and have more of a heart-pumping experience flying those paper airplanes too. So I loved the range in which you could play with these paper airplanes, go through all these levels that were beautiful. It had an amazing soundtrack too, by the way. Just love it. And I also love in the story mode as well what they did at the end, which I'm not going to spoil, but I'm going to say what they did at the end was very creative and very nice. I also have since really enjoyed that for PC, they have been continuing to push updates, so I've been continuing to play it over the last several months, and I've just really had a lot of fun with this game, and I've been really impressed with this indie title. Coming in at number 3 is a really beautiful co-op game called It Takes Two. Like Psychonauts 2, it's another game that's very creative. I love the worlds that they put you in. It's very imaginative. The puzzles are amazing. It definitely teaches you a thing or two about teamwork. But I also love the fact that they blended in a storyline that is a bit more serious, as it focuses on 2 parents who are going through a divorce. But I like the fact that they were able to blend that with more of a creative and fun side to the game. And like I said, I would simply describe this game as just beautiful. Of course, the only caveat is the fact that you have to play co-op. There is no single player, multiplayer matchmaking, so you got to find someone to buddy up with. Also, when I first played this game, I did play it when it came out earlier in the year, and I really appreciated the fact that you could buy the game and you would have a friend's pass so that your friend could play along too with just the one copy. But it has since come out on Game Pass. So if you do have Game Pass and you're interested, I highly recommend you find a friend to play with and you check that out. Coming in at number 2 for me in 2021 was Resident Evil Village. What I'll say about Resident Evil Village is that my journey with that and the Resident Evil series has been really interesting in that, especially if you've checked out previous live streams of mine or some other YouTube videos, you've probably heard me say that horror games are not my thing. And up until this year, I really strongly felt that way. I felt horror games just really aren't super fun for me. They're just scary, they're tense, they're stressful, that's not fun. So I really didn't play much in the horror genre before this. However, I was strongly encouraged to check out the PlayStation exclusive of the Resident Evil Village demo and was immediately surprised by how much I was drawn into that demo. It wasn't tense and stressful. I found, the horror to be more of like I would say a haunted house horror, where you kind of know when something's going to jump out and it gets you, but it's kind of in a fun way. So I was having a lot more fun with that than I thought. And I also loved the puzzles. And I mean, the vampire vibe, how can you not love that? I actually liked the demo so much so that I went back and played all of Resident Evil 7 Biohazard this year to kind of get more into the Resident Evil series before I finally played the full Resident Evil Village game. I was slightly disappointed that we didn't get to see more of Lady D and more vampires throughout. I don't know if there's any opportunity for DLC where they can bring in more vampire characters. I don't know. And also some of the bosses were a little interesting. I respect the creativity and the fact that it was a very unpredictable storyline for me, but I will say I still don't understand the baby in the basement thing. Won't say any more on that. It's just weird. Very weird. Maybe that's just Resident Evil for you. But I was so drawn into that storyline. It is definitely a story that gets you, and it takes twists and turns that I did not see. And again, I just never expected to have that much fun with a horror game. And to the point where it has since changed my views on the horror genre in general, and I've since played several other horror titles. So this game not only was a great experience for me in general, but it kind of reshaped my thought on that genre of gaming overall. So thank you, Resident Evil, for that. Finally, coming in at number 1, and this might not be a huge surprise, is Halo Infinite. Unlike the other games that I listed earlier, I have been playing Halo since the beginning. It has been really my entry point into Xbox gaming in particular, and has a really special place in my heart. So I might be a little bit biased here in putting this one first, but as someone who is a big Halo fan, I have had so much fun with Infinite. And when I say Halo Infinite, I mean the whole experience that I've had so far, from getting to play the flights, the demos, which have been really, really great, and I love that I've been a part of that early gaming experience, to getting to play the official multiplayer when it launched with all the maps, seeing the updates they've made in the game types and the battle pass, the weekly challenges, and I've been loving the campaign as well. There's a lot about the game that I think if you're an existing Halo fan, you're gonna like, or you're gonna really get that Halo vibe from some of the multiplayer maps just feeling still very Halo, some of your favorite weapons that you always get to play with, even hearing the theme song used throughout the game still, and the original Master Chief voice actor. I love these elements that they've really kept the same. At the same time, I like the new elements that they've blended in. The Battle Pass has been fun for me. I love that you can play the campaign in more of a non-linear format. You certainly don't have to, you can stick to the missions, but I do like that open layout. I do like kind of wandering a little bit more, and I just like all the new elements that they've added in. So I think that they've done a great job of still keeping it special for those of us original Halo fans that have been with the series over the last 20 years, but at the same time, they're adding new elements that I think and I hope are bringing in some of the newer gamers as well. And I think it's great. And I cannot wait for co-op to come out in 2022 of the spring. Anyways, though, that is my top 5 lists for my favorite games that came out in 2021. I do hope that you enjoyed today's video, and if so, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if in general you've been liking the content on this channel, please be sure to subscribe. Until next time, I'll see you later.